slowly come to the realization that it's almost in the 80s and it's only the second day of February, like today? Is there something abnormal that's causing this change in weather? Could this abnormal phenomenon begin to affect us and how we live our daily lives? Well, this abnormal phenomenon is something that we're very familiar with, and it's called global warming. Some of the things I'm going to be talking about today are what it is and how it came about, how it affects our daily lives, and what are some possible solutions to what we can do to stop this crisis. Everyone is familiar with the term global warming, but has anyone sat down and done research as to why or how it came to be? NASA defines the global warming as greenhouse gases getting trapped in our atmosphere. Greenhouse gases are made up of carbon dioxide, methane gases, fluoride gases, and nitric oxide. Because of the advances in the machinery and the discoveries from NASA, they've been able to monitor and collect data from our atmosphere and have confirmed that greenhouse gases are causing our Earth to not only heat up at an abnormal rate, but to retain that heat and keep it in our atmosphere. We can think of this as the greenhouse gases going into the atmosphere and it creating a thick blanket, and it gets thicker and thicker the more the gases go into the atmosphere, which means heat cannot be released, and so it is stuck. But how do these gases come into our atmosphere? They develop from human-made emissions and things that we do. Carbon dioxide can come from the burning of natural oil, gas, the burning of solid waste, and even the burning of trees, which in the past month and the past year, we've seen in mass proportions. The NASA has said that the greenhouse gas percentage, 82% of it is carbon dioxide, 10% of it was made of methane, which we get from the burning and transportation of natural coal and oil and gas, and that also comes from livestock. Nitric oxide comes from the transportation of oil and coal as well. Fluoride gases come from purely man-made circumstances, such as refrigeration, air conditioning, it comes in aerosols, and it's also found in fire extinguishers. And fluoride gases are synthetic, and they're man-made, and they're very harmful if they get into the environment and the atmosphere. The only way carbon dioxide can be released or depleted or sequestered is through plants and what is called the carbon cycle. And so it filters out the carbon and replaces it with oxygen. Imagine all the greenhouse gases that we have released into the atmosphere since the beginning of the Industrial Revolution. That's about 200 years worth of gases just gathering into a thicker and thicker blanket in our atmosphere. According to Kevin Trenberth, who was the leader of the climate analysis at the National Center of Atmospheric Research, because the amount of carbon dioxide in our world is increasing, it's causing our oceans to heat up. And it has nearly doubled, the temperature of the ocean has nearly doubled since 1992. And this heat is now reaching into deeper waters. It's not just staying at a certain level, it's starting to move down. And so, yeah. Ocean temperatures have been rising about 0.12 degrees Celsius every decade for 50 years. Though this influx in temperature was not immediate and it was gradual, it still contributes to more frequent and intense extreme weather instances. In the three back-to-back deadly hurricanes of 2017, which were Harvey, Irma, and Maria, the warmer water temperature and air temperature is what caused those storms to become out of hand, to become more deadly than usual. Not only does the warmer air and warmer water temperature affect the weather, it's also affecting the melting of land ice, and it's caused it to rise way more than it needs to. Nearly 50% of the sea level rise is from ocean warming. Other scientists have also concluded that the West Antarctic ice sheet, which is currently being thinned down due to elevated water temperature and air temperature, could, if it were to melt completely, it could rise global water depths over 11 feet. But when we think about it, could there be any other possible thing that could be causing our Earth to abnormally heat up like this? Like perhaps an influx in the sun radiation? Well, according to the World Radiation Center, the sun's radiation has not increased since at least 1978, which is when satellite monitoring became available. So since then, the sun's radiation has not changed, but the global temperature has steadily increased as years have gone by. Not only can we see this through their machines and their information, but we can also see this through the ocean sediments, tree rings, and even coral reefs, which, because the Earth is heating up so much and more carbon dioxide is being released, the ocean has to take in some of that carbon dioxide. And the more it does that, the more acidic the water becomes. And so the coral reefs show how more acidic our oceans are becoming. Is it too late to reverse climate change? Yes, because there's so many years of all those greenhouse gases. But there are ways we can slow down the progression of it. According to the National Resources Defense Council, some ways you can help fight climate change is by spreading the word, telling your friends and family of the dangers it could pose, and figure out ways to help each other out and come up with solutions as to cut back on your carbon footprint. Other ways to do this is by powering your home with renewable energy or utilizing energy efficient appliances. This will cut down on the production of carbon dioxide through fossil fuel burning. Another way to do this, according to the Environmental Protection Agency, or EPA, is to take shorter showers, to turn off your sink while you're brushing your teeth, and to invest in more energy sufficient appliances such as WaterSense labeled fixtures and appliances. If at 1 out of every 100 American homes outfitted their home with these water fixtures, it could save about 100 million kilowatt hours of electricity, which would be avoiding 80,000 tons of global warming pollution that we could stop. For a more hands-on approach as to what you could do to slow global warming, according to Solar Impulse, would be to work in planting more trees and by carpooling, or not using your vehicle as much, because it releases harmful emissions as well. Global warming affects everyone, no matter where the majority of the pollution may be coming from. Some countries, such as the US, have found other ways to combat the climate change. According to the History Channel, the Clean Air Act of 1990 does this by limiting harmful vehicle emissions and phasing out the use of chemicals that are harmful and dangerous for our ozone layer. I hope this speech has sparked some kind of interest in what is going on in our world as it pertains to what global warming is, how it affects us, how it's come to be, and how we could slow down global warming. Does anybody have any questions?
Well, I'm happy to say that when we renovated, we put in all energy efficient appliances, so yay for us.
You said something about the rings
Of
The
the
tree
trees.
rings?
of the trees.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting.
Yes.
And the coral reefs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I thought that was very interesting about the coral reefs, because I didn't think absorbing carbon dioxide would make the ocean more acidic, but it is.
Yeah.
And it's killing the coral reefs, which are part of a huge ecosystem.
It sure is. Now what about the rings? I mean, I understand what you're saying, but the rings in the trees, you know, after you cut them off, you know, you tell. What is all that?
You
Is
can
it
tell
how you tell that it's,
when you cut, and you can see the tree rings, you can tell many things. You can tell
how old?
how much water it's been able to retain. I'm sure there is like discoloration if there's a lot of pollution and
Yeah, okay.
stuff like that.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
All right, yeah, because, you know, when we was little, my dad cut trees off and he'll count the rings and he'll say, well, it's 3 years, yeah, you know, and how do you do that? And, well, that's smart.
But it's also pretty alarming.
Mm-hmm, it is.
And you don't really think